Hello, ghosties. You're listening to Not My Ghost.
Not my problem. I'm Kelly.
And I'm Jen.
Whether you're a skeptic, a true believer, or somewhere in between, join us for a journey into the unknown.
Because remember, when it comes to the paranormal, it may not be our problem.
But it's certainly someone's problem.
Before we get started with today's episode, I do want to apologize because my audio is a little off. I was not recording in my normal location. It will probably be like that on next week's episode as well. So thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy today's episode. If you notice anything different about this episode, Kelly and I are both medicated for our ADHD.
We are. However, I take mine before work when I get up for work at 4 a.m. So I'm running out of the juice, shall we say.
Yeah, and I'd probably still got some juice in when we record. So we'll see how our podcast, like how the dynamic changes, because we might not go off on as many tangents. I mean, there will still be tangents for sure, but maybe
Well, I'm just wondering if you're gonna get, like, because my medicine's worn off and I'm gonna be the same, and then you're medicated, and you're gonna be like, "Get your shit together."
probably.
And it's past the 4th of July, so welcome to spooky season, everyone.
Welcome to spooky season. Is that when it starts?
After 4th of July, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's when we can start, like, planning for Halloween and
Oh,
shopping for Halloween decorations and just generally getting in the spirit for Halloween.
that's good. I mean, I'm always in spooky season in my soul, so
Same, but, I feel like it's socially acceptable to start talking about, although some people will a
oh,
lot of people will very much disagree with
they
me.
will. They will. I think it's the fairest time where I will like no one can tell me no is the day after Labor Day. That is when I decorate my house for Halloween. That is
Same,
when I go full spooky and
same.
I have a good full 2 months of my house being decorated. Though you know what my apartment looks like. It's kind of always decorated.
It's kind of always decorated for Halloween. I like to sorry, I got distracted because on our app, there's a little face and it moved.
It moved?
It
What?
m it turned do you see the little face?
No?
There's not a little face on the bottom of your app?
Oh, yeah, there is.
It, like, moved,
Oh, that's like an AI button.
and it scared me.
Oh, you can ask it questions? I didn't even know. I usually I work on the computer, not the iPad.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. See? Side quest.
So, obviously, her Adderall is already worn off for the day.
Right. So this is the time of year that I start, like, really planning. "Oh, I'm gonna make Jello shots for the adults again. Am I gonna get a costume, and am I gonna buy anything new for the house?" Or I start that pre-planning stuff about this time of year.
I know we discussed a possible fall trip for me to come see you and us do something haunted.
By the fall, I might have, I don't know, some time I can maybe I'd take a day off or
Yeah.
something, I don't know.
The good thing with me is that, I can come and I have family and stuff, so I can go see them certain days and I can work because I work remote. So,
That's very true.
yeah,
I don't know how you would drive to see your family, though.
that's true. Might have to look into renting a car.
Maybe because I can't you can't take me to work.
I wouldn't want to that early in the morning.
Oh, you're missing out.
No. Well, welcome to our scripted, unscripted banter.
Oh, yes. I do have a question.
Okay.
What is one war era survival skill that you would totally fail at?
All of them.
All of them?
Yeah. I don't I'm a lover, not a fighter, Kelly.
I feel like the same, like, survival, like, do I wanna survive that bad?
Yeah.
Like
I mean, I think so Are we talking war or, like, apocalypse? Because those are 2
No,
different.
war, like, when you're in a war,
I've
like,
never
you
been in a
think
war before.
I know, but you think about, like, soldiers, like, they have to be able to maybe, like, camouflage, like, I have way too big of a mouth
Yeah.
to be quiet and not heard, things
Uh,
like that. But also, I get hangry, I'm gonna need to eat.
yeah.
I'm gonna need a meal.
I'm gonna need a good, like, sleep situation, otherwise, I'm just not gonna be good to anybody.
No, not gonna be helpful.
Maybe that's how they turn me into war gen is by depriving me of food and sleep, and then the niceness of me just disappears and I hate everyone.
Right, that might be good. If they
Yeah,
would've gotten me a couple of years ago when I started menopause, I would've won any war.
absolutely.
Oh, it's my episode, so I suppose I'm supposed to keep talking, right?
You are supposed to keep talking, but I am going to do a hostile podcast takeover.
A hostile podcast takeover, I cannot wait.
It's like that song
I love it.
that I'm not gonna sing because I
Yeah.
can't sing, but y'all know what I mean.
Yeah.
A couple of episodes ago, we were talking about if anyone we asked the question if anyone had died in space.
In space, right.
And I did some research, and I have to say, I have to give a shout out to Katrona, one of our Patreon members, because I guess she just listened to the episode and chatted in our Discord channel the answer about anybody dying in space because we said that we weren't sure and we didn't know. So thank
And
you. I had already done the research at this point. I know I'm not usually on top of things like this, but I was this time.
well, I had 1 forgotten that we even posited the question,
Mhm.
and 2, I'm very, very behind on everything because my brain doesn't work after work.
That's fair. Well, as far as fatalities related to any type of space missions, I found a couple of different things. So the Soyuz 11 in 1971, and this was from the USSR. Cos Cosmonauts Georgy Dabrowski.
Cosmonaut?
What?
Cosmonaut?
Cosmonaut? Cosmonaut. Georgy
Some Russian guy.
Yeah, some Russian guys, because I can't pronounce their names, died in orbit. But basically, a cabin vent valve accidentally opened during the reentry prep, and they suffocated from cabin depressurization. Their bodies were found still strapped into their seats after landing. These are the only humans known to have died in space. And then, as everyone probably knows, there was the Challenger disaster in 1986, where the shuttle broke apart 73 seconds after liftoff, killing all 7 astronauts. This happened high in the Earth's atmosphere, but not technically in space.
Right.
And then there was the Columbia disaster in 2003, where the shuttle disintegrated during re-entry, killing all 7 crew members. Again, this happened while in the upper atmosphere, not in space.
That happened, I think, like, the day after Rebecca was born.
Wow. I don't remember. I was 13, so I don't
Mm.
really remember that.
I watched the Challenger explode on TV in school.
I wasn't born yet, so
Yeah, because it was the first teacher that was going up in space, and they had it on in the we didn't know what happened right away. As kids, we didn't know that we just the teacher had it on, and then she just turned off the TV and was like, "Okay, so we're gonna go to lunch," or whatever we were going to at that time.
yeah,
And then later, they did tell us what happened.
yeah. So that's my hostile podcast takeover.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah.
Well, today we are starting part 1 of a two-part episode, and it's one that I was very excited about doing, especially part 2 because I have some cool, like, personal stuff to talk about
Yeah.
in part 2. Okay, picture this. You're walking across a quiet, foggy field in Pennsylvania. The air feels heavy, like it's holding a secret, and somewhere in the distance, you hear what sounds like musket fire. Except there's no reenactment happening today. We're in one of the most haunted places in America, where history and the paranormal are so tightly woven together, even the ghosts seem tired of telling the same story. In this episode, We're taking you through the blood-soaked legacy of the Battle of Gettysburg,
Oh,
the haunted hotspots that still echo with cannon fire, and the chilling ghost stories that have become just as legendary as the battle itself. So grab your EMF detector, keep your eyes peeled for shadows in the wheat field, and get ready because today we're stepping into the past where not everyone has moved on.
I am excited.
I am excited too, but first, I have some facts.
Okay.
Now, it's a little difficult sometimes to think, oh, what are some fun facts about war?
Yeah.
I kind of went more with interesting facts
Okay.
and then scary facts about war because I don't think there's any fun
No, I
facts.
can't really think of anything fun.
Okay. So for our first fact, Napoleon, this is kind of fun,
Okay.
was once attacked by bunnies. He planned a rabbit hunt for his men, but when the bunnies were released, they charged him instead of running away.
Oh my god.
They were tame and they thought he had food. So they
Oh,
didn't like harm him, but they did charge him.
I love that. I actually kind of wish they would have harmed him a little bit because they were gonna kill the bunnies, so they were just getting
Right,
their shots in first.
right.
Poor bunnies.
Okay. And the next fact is the US military used inflatable tanks in World War II. Now, this is something I find fascinating. So, they used to do what they called ghost armies that were set up as decoys to trick the enemy.
Okay.
So, the ghost army was a unit of artists and engineers who used fake tanks, sound effects, and radio trickery to fool German forces into thinking US troops were elsewhere,
Oh,
to draw them away from where the troops actually were.
yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it's very interesting. Before I was doing this episode, I listened to a podcast about it and I was like, this is absolutely fascinating. And for our third interesting fact, World War One sparked the invention of the wristwatch.
Okay.
Soldiers found that pocket watches were too impractical in battle, so they started strapping them to their wrists, making the wristwatch fashionable and functional.
Yeah, I agree.
I do have some scary facts.
Yes.
Soldiers in World War Two drowned in mud. So the trenches of the Western Front weren't just muddy, they were deadly. Some soldiers sank into waterlogged trenches and shell craters, and they were never seen again.
Oh,
I don't like that one at all.
I don't like the idea of drowning, let alone in mud.
Right. This next is not great either. Oh, I have one in here just for you. And when I was choosing, no, don't look at it. Don't you look at it.
My iPad's all the way over here. I'm not looking at
I
it.
thought you were going to look at it because it's the
No.
last one. And I was like, don't you spoil it. Because I was choosing my facts and I thought this one's just for Jen, but not this one. The second scary fact was Japan did human experiments in World War II. Unit 731, a secret division of the Japanese army, conducted live dissections, frostbite testing, and biological weapon experiments on civilians.
Oh,
And these
no.
horrors were kept hidden for years.
I don't like that at all.
And this last one is just for you. Are you
Okay.
ready?
No.
Though debated by historians, there were documented attempts by Nazi scientists to make soap from human fat.
No. No, thank you.
Yeah,
That's disgusting.
yeah. So we got
Ugh,
buckets of blood. We got books bound by with skin. What else did we get?
I think that was it.
Nazis made lampshades out of
Oh,
like
yeah.
skin. Yeah.
Lampshades out of skin.
Yeah.
And now soap out of fat.
Yes.
Oh, they would have loved me. I could have given them a lot of fat. I made a lot of soap.
I would have made a lot. Would have been the cleanest fucking Nazis.
I could have washed many Nazis.
Unwillingly, people.
Unwillingly.
Unwillingly.
I'm not happy about it, but I definitely could have.
All right, we're gonna get into this because we have some history to go through.
Yes, we do.
So how I'm gonna do this is I'm gonna go through a very brief history of Gettysburg, of the battle,
Yeah.
and then we're gonna talk about some of the most haunted locations there. The Battle of Gettysburg took place over 3 harrowing days, July 1st through July 3rd, 1863, and remains one of the most significant and blood-soaked confrontations in American history. Located in the rolling hills of south central Pennsylvania, the small town of Gettysburg unexpectedly became the backdrop for a massive and brutal clash between the Union Army of the Potomac, led by Major General George G. Meade, and the Confederate Army of Northern Virginia, commanded by General Robert E. Lee. Fresh off a victory at Chancellorsville, had set his sights on invading the North. His plan was to strike deep into Union territory, hoping a decisive win on Northern soil would demoralize the Union, disrupt the political stability, especially with an upcoming election, and possibly sway foreign powers like Britain or France to support the Confederate cause. But instead of a swift victory, Lee found himself engaged in a sprawling, chaotic battle across fields, hills, and ridges outside of Gettysburg. The fighting was relentless, with iconic skirmishes taking place at places like Little Round Top, Devil's Den, the Wheat Field, and the infamous Pickett's Charge, a disastrous frontal assault that ended in massive Confederate losses. By the end of the third day, more than 50,000 soldiers from both sides were dead, wounded, or missing, making it the deadliest battle ever fought on American soil. The Union's victory forced Lee to retreat back to Virginia, ending his hopes of a successful Northern invasion and shifting the momentum of the war in the Union's favor. But the impact of Gettysburg wasn't just military. The battlefield became a national symbol of sacrifice and perseverance. Just 4 months later, President Abraham Lincoln delivered the Gettysburg Address at the dedication of the Soldiers' National Cemetery, reminding the nation of the purpose behind the war and calling on Americans to ensure that the government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from this earth.
Wow.
Gettysburg mattered because it marked a turning point in the Civil War, both strategically and spiritually. The land soaked in blood and grief would never be the same. And for some, it seems the echoes of that battle still haven't faded.
What a concept to have a government for the people, by the people, because, yeah,
Yeah,
it's a great concept.
it really is. Yeah. All right. So the first haunted location we're going to talk about in Gettysburg is Gettysburg College.
They have a college? I mean, of course they have a college, but I guess I didn't even I don't know, I just think of Gettysburg as, like, this small town. I don't know. Go on.
I will. Gettysburg College, known at the time as Pennsylvania College, played a significant and sobering role during the Battle of Gettysburg in July 1863. Founded in 1832, the college sat just north of the town and consisted of a few buildings, the most prominent being Pennsylvania Hall, also called the Old Dorm. A 4-story red brick structure that served as the main academic and administrative building. When the battle broke out on July 1st, the college's peaceful campus was quickly thrust into the heart of the conflict. As Union and Confederate forces converged on the town, Pennsylvania Hall was repurposed as a field hospital almost immediately. Its central tower made it a key observation point for Union officers early in the battle. But after Union forces were pushed south of town later that day, Confederate troops took control of the building and used it for their own wounded.
I mean, seems like I think almost every location was repurposed as a hospital, wasn't it?
A lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of them were. Inside Pennsylvania Hall, both Union and Confederate doctors treated hundreds of injured soldiers, often under horrific conditions. Amputations and surgeries were performed without anesthesia, and blood soaked the wooden floors. Classrooms and dorms were turned into operating areas, while stairwells and hallways were filled with men awaiting treatment or dying from their wounds.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Supplies were scarce, and the medical staff was overwhelmed by the sheer number of casualties. It is estimated that more than 700 wounded soldiers passed through the building during the course of the battle. That's 3 days.
Wow. I wonder if that's where Project Fear is gonna investigate, because we know that they went to Gettysburg, and it's coming up sometime this year.
Yeah, the second part of this episode is going to be about someplace that I was in Gettysburg, and I'm kinda hoping that they stayed there because I would love to see.
I feel like that's such a smaller location, though. They don't I mean, they have done houses. They have. They just don't do houses very often.
I think they were I don't know, maybe I don't know how long that whole episode was. I don't know what they were doing. Were they doing outside battlefields? Were they
Yeah.
doing homes? Were they?
And there's so we just know they went to Gettysburg. There's
Yeah,
so
that's all
many
we know.
places they could have done, or maybe they did multiple while they were there.
Maybe. Even after the fighting ended on July 3rd, Pennsylvania Hall continued to function as a hospital for several weeks. The college itself would not resume normal operations until months later, once the wounded had been moved and the building cleaned and repaired as best as possible. Gettysburg College's involvement in the battle is a powerful reminder of how the war impacted every corner of civilian life,
Yeah.
transforming a quiet place of learning into a site of suffering, sacrifice, and survival.
Could you imagine being in that college at that time
No,
and then having to go back to it?
I cannot.
Like, that is insane.
You ready for some of the ghost stories?
Of course.
All right. In Pennsylvania Hall, two Gettysburg College administrators were working late one night in the early 1980s in the fourth floor offices at Pennsylvania Hall. The building is one of the oldest on the campus. During the Battle of Gettysburg, as we said, it was used as a hospital. After completing their work, the men left their office and entered the elevator and pushed the button for the first floor. Inexplicably, the elevator passed the first floor and continued to the basement. When the doors opened, the administrators could scarcely believe their eyes. What they knew to be storage space was replaced by a scene from the hospital. Dead and dying men lying about on the floor, blood-covered doctors and
Oh,
orderlies were rushing about chaotically, trying desperately to save their lives. No sound emitted from this site, but both administrators saw it clearly. Immediately upon reaching the main floor, the administrators hurried to the campus security office about 100 yards away, thinking a fraternity prank was going on. The guard on duty, now chief at security at the college, ran to the building to investigate. But when he reached the basement, there was nothing.
right, but there was no sound.
Yeah.
Like, frat bros are not that quiet.
No,
How would you not immediately think ghost in that instance?
I would think ghost, but I don't know.
Yeah.
So, Timon Lynn, chief of security at Gettysburg College, remembered the incident. I would have to say that something frightened them. I can't explain it. Although I don't believe in ghosts, I guess to a certain extent, I believe that they maybe saw what they said they saw only because I know them as credible people. So that's hard when you know people as credible people, but then
Yeah.
you don't really hold a real belief into something.
Yeah, that's tough.
So, one of the creepiest things that students on the campus at Gettysburg College are likely to encounter is the apparition of a Civil War soldier standing guard at the top of the cupola of Pennsylvania Hall. The ghost, who is thought to be a signalman from the time when the Confederates held the college, often aims his rifle at the students on the ground And over the years, a number of alarming reports of a gunman on the tower have been investigated by campus security, only to find that the locks were secure and the tower was, in fact, empty.
That is terrifying.
Right, especially in today's world.
Right. In today's world with all of the mass shootings and oh my I can't. No,
It's
that's
not good.
no.
Okay, so the next location we're going to talk about is the Jennie Wade house.
At the location that you're gonna talk about next week, I stayed in the Jennie Wade room.
I know you did. The Jennie Wade house, located at 548 Baltimore Street in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, was the site of a tragic civilian death during the Battle of Gettysburg. The home belonged to Jennie's sister, Georgia McClellan, and it was here that 20-year-old Mary Virginia, or Jennie Wade, sought refuge with her mother and young nephew as the battle raged around town. On July 1st, 1863, as Union and Confederate forces clashed just outside of town, Jennie and her family moved from their home into Georgia's, believing it would be safer. The house was caught between Union and Confederate lines, with heavy fighting taking place throughout the streets of Gettysburg. Despite the danger, Jennie spent the next 2 days helping to care for her sister, assisting Union soldiers nearby, and baking bread for them using flour provided by the troops. On the morning of July 3rd, 1863, the final day of the battle, Jennie was standing in the kitchen kneading dough when a stray bullet passed through two wooden doors and struck her in the back, killing her instantly. The bullet is believed to have come from a Confederate sharpshooter, though the exact origin was never definitively determined. We're going to learn a little bit more about that in the second part of this episode because there is a theory of where that may have come from.
Okay. Wasn't Jennie Wade the only civilian to die at that in that battle?
Yes, I was just about to say that. Yes, Jennie was the only direct civilian fatality of the Battle of Gettysburg.
I knew things. I just wanted to say it before you did to make people think that I'm smart.
Think. Just think.
Think is the main word there.
Her body was quickly moved to the cellar for safety, where it remained until the fighting subsided. Days later, she was buried in the backyard of the home with a temporary marker. In 1865, her remains were reburied in the Gettysburg Evergreen Cemetery, where a monument now stands in her honor. Jennie Wade became a symbol of civilian sacrifice during the war, and her story remains one of the most personal and humanizing tragedies of the battle. The house where she died is now preserved as a museum and a historical site, offering a poignant look into the lives of civilians caught in the chaos of war.
Wow.
There's a museum in Gettysburg called Beyond the Battle. I have not had the opportunity to go there, but it's a museum that is very much about what the civilians all experience, and some of the, like, things that you can look at, they'll have, like, a window of, like, different locations, like, if you were looking out on the battlefields, like, what a civilian would have seen right outside their window.
Oh, that's cool.
That's gotta be a terrifying perspective.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so ghosts at the Jennie Wade house. Visitors and staff have reported sightings of a young woman believed to be Jennie Wade herself. These apparitions are often described as translucent figures moving through the house or appearing in windows. Some guests have also reported the sudden scent of freshly baked bread or roses, both scents associated with Jennie during her life. Two male apparitions are frequently mentioned. One is believed to linger in the basement, while the other is associated with the upper floors. Visitors have reported the smell of cigar smoke and the sensation of hot embers falling on them, despite no visible source. That's gotta be wild.
I don't like that at all.
No, mm-mm. And guests have also recounted experiences involving playful child spirits. These included hearing disembodied voices, feeling small hands grasping theirs, or seeing objects like bed skirts move without explanation. Some speculate these spirits may be the children who died during the Civil War era.
Oh.
So, Ghost Hunters on season 9, Their episode titled Orphans of Gettysburg, the TAPS team conducted an investigation of the Jennie Wade house, uncovering some pieces of evidence. So they had Amy and Adam reported witnessing a black mass moving across the room. Later, investigators Steve and Jason experienced a similar sighting, suggesting a reoccurring phenomenon.
Phenomenon.
Within the house. Using their thermal cameras, the team captured an image of a human-like figure walking outside of the house. Remarkably, this figure faded into nothingness, leaving no trace on subsequent frames on the camera, which is interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah. Investigators reported unexplained sensations such as sudden chills or the feeling of being watched, particularly in areas associated with historical trauma. Okay, the next location is Devil's Den. And Devil's Den is one of the most iconic and fiercely contested locations on the Gettysburg battlefield. Located southwest of the town, near a rise called Little Round Top, Devil's Den is a large rocky outcropping of boulders and uneven terrain that played a critical role during the second day of the Battle of Gettysburg. In the early afternoon, Confederate General James Longstreet launched a major assault on the Union left flank, aiming to break their line and take control of the high ground. Devil's Den sat in a strategic position just below Little Round Top and became a key objective in the Confederate attack. Union forces, primarily from the 4th New York and other regimes, were ordered to hold the area at all costs, and what followed was a brutal and chaotic battle over the rocks and the ravines. Fighting at Devil's Den was close range, intense, and deadly. The boulders created natural cover and confusing sight lines, turning the area into a nightmarish maze of sharpshooters, bayonet charges, and hand-to-hand combat. Confederate soldiers, particularly those from the 1st Texas Infantry and other units in Hood's division, ultimately overran the position, capturing Devil's Den after hours of bloody fighting. However, the victory was limited. While the Confederates gained control over the rocky formations, they failed to take the adjacent high ground at Little Round Top, which remained in the Union's hands and proved critical to the overall battle. Casualties at Devil's Den was heavy on both sides. The terrain made it difficult to evacuate the wounded, and many soldiers lay for hours or days before receiving aid. Sharpshooters stationed at the site continued to exchange fire with the Union troops on nearby ridges even after the initial assault. Today, Devil's Den remains largely unchanged from the way it looked in 1863, making it a powerful and somber reminder of the battle's brutality, the landscape's natural features, and its role in one of Gettysburg's most intense firefights has made it one of the most visited and studied spots on the battlefield. It is
Okay.
one of my favorites. So Little Round Top is really cool. They have a lot of monuments up there that are really cool, and then when you go on a Little Round Top and you look down over Devil's Den, it's a pretty cool perspective.
Yeah.
So for the ghost stories or sightings at Devil's Den, many visitors have reported encounters with a barefoot, disheveled man dressed in ragged clothing and a floppy brimmed hat. This figure often appears to lost tourists, pointing them in the right direction before vanishing. Some believe he is the spirit of a Confederate soldier from Texas, as his attire matches that of the soldiers from that region during the Civil War. So he's just helpful.
Yeah. Seems helpful.
Tourists and paranormal investigators have witnessed apparitions of Civil War soldiers among the rocks. Additionally, unexplained sounds such as gunfire, shouting, and cries have been reported, echoing through the area even when no one else is present. A common occurrence at Devil's Den is the malfunctioning of electronic devices. Visitors have reported cameras and cell phones failing to operate or capturing unexplained anomalies only to function normally once they leave the area.
Okay.
And this one I do not like. One chilling account involves a woman who felt a hand grab her ankle while climbing the rocks. Looking down, she saw a young man in a Civil War uniform emerging from a crevice. When she looked again, he had vanished without a trace. I'm glad she didn't fall because that would have been very startling.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Alrighty, where are we going next?
I don't know, you tell me.
I will. Triangular Field. Just west of Devil's Den lies Triangular Field, a sloping patch of farmland bordered by stone walls that created a natural bottleneck. During the same July 2nd assault, Confederate troops crossed this open area under heavy Union fire in their effort to reach and flank Devil's Den and the surrounding ridges. The terrain funneled the attackers into a deadly crossfire. Union forces positioned behind the stone walls and the higher ground made use of the elevation to inflict heavy casualties on the advancing Confederates. Triangular Field became one of the many grim killing grounds during the battle. Dozens of men fell in the short but intense fight across the field, and many of the wounded lay in the tall grass for hours without aid. The natural terrain made retreat difficult, and the exposed nature of the field left little room to recover. So, together, Devil's Den and Triangular Field saw some of the fiercest and bloodiest fighting in the entire battle. The loss of life was staggering, and the landscape was left littered with bodies, weapons, and shattered hopes. Though the Confederates gained ground at Devil's Den, their failure to take Little Round Top contributed to their eventual defeat at Gettysburg. Today, both sites remain largely preserved and visited by thousands each year, serving as somber reminders of the chaos and carnage unfolded there. Many have claimed to see ghostly figures resembling Civil War soldiers moving silently through Triangular Field, also known as the wheat field. These apparitions often appear suddenly and vanish without a trace. In one account, a visitor captured a photograph that seems to depict a shadowy figure in the wheat field, despite no one being present at the time. Auditory experiences such as distant cannon fire, musket shots, and anguished cries have been reported, even when no reenactments or events were taking place. Some visitors have also heard the eerie sound of rebel yells echoing across the field. A common report involves the malfunctioning of electronic devices, like same with Devil's Den. So cameras and recording equipment will fail to operate correctly in the wheat field, with photographs sometimes turning out blank or distorted. That's interesting to me. Blank. In one case, the visitor's camera ceased functioning entirely when aimed at the field, but worked perfectly when directed elsewhere.
Yeah, that's
We could
weird.
like turn around and it would work, but then
Yeah.
that's just nuts.
Yeah, that is weird.
Yeah. Visitors have recounted feelings of unease, sudden chills, and the sensation of being watched while walking through the wheat field. In a notable incident from 2022, a visitor reported being inexplicably pushed while in the field and felt as though they were being observed for the remainder of the day.
Weird.
Okay. And the last thing I have is I found two personal stories of Gettysburg on Reddit.
Oh,
Now, the first one, I don't understand this. It said that the username was deleted.
yeah,
Like, yes.
that happens
Yeah.
sometimes.
So this person's story says, I used to live an hour away from Gettysburg and would explore the battlefield with friends late at night. Several times we saw nothing, but one summer night in July of 2010, we experienced so much. Now, here's the thing. Late at night, they must be sneaking in because it's like a national park and they do lock it down.
Yeah,
So they must be sneaking in to see this.
which we do not recommend you do.
No, we do not. Our group saw giant orb swinging lanterns in the woods and have EVP recordings of loud horses galloping, guns firing, and people whispering. You can hear the EVPs of two men saying, Bob, is that her? What did you do to that poor girl? Later on, we recorded multiple women's voices trying to identify someone saying things such as, "Is it Maliki? Is that the girl Rihanna?" There were 2 women, including myself, in that group and 2 guys, so I'm not really sure what the spirits were referring to. Also, when we were walking through the wheat field, my friend asked out loud if there was anyone in the woods, and both him and I heard a loud voice whisper in our ear, "No."
Weird.
Super creepy. It
Yeah.
almost felt as if the ghost was being sarcastic. In addition, I also have an EVP recording of someone saying, "Help me." The night felt like everywhere we went was a paranormal experience. And I also heard Indian tom-tom drums in the woods
Oh,
and distant echoes of cannon fire. Whatever is out there followed us around because the whole night there was this white, misty cloud that seemed to show up. I also saw muzzle flashes and smelled tobacco smoke. I still have the 20-minute recording of the majority of the talking EVPs, one of the most incredible experiences of my life. I've gone back multiple times since then and nothing has happened. So I was hoping they would have put some of these files like up,
yeah.
but there was nothing on there because I
That's
would have liked to have seen some of this.
yeah, absolutely. You said you had evidence. Give me the
Give me
evidence.
the evidence. This next story is a little long, not too bad.
Okay.
And this was user Running Horse 94.
Okay.
In late fall of 2015, me and my family decided to go to Gettysburg for a vacation. Being a big history lover, I was stoked to see the battlefield. The weather was amazing and the atmosphere was somber and peaceful. The first day was mostly spent at the museum and walking parts of the battlefield. Nothing really happened until we were getting ready for bed in the hotel room. My brother sat up suddenly in bed and ran to the door, opening it and stepping into the hallway. We asked him if he was okay, and he asked us if we heard men yelling orders and cannon fire. We had 4 people in the room and no one else heard anything. I'm wondering which hotel he was staying at.
Yeah, I'd
I
be
wish he
interested.
would have said, because there's a couple of really haunted hotels down there. I'm wondering if it was the Cashtown Inn. The next day, while we were on the battlefield near Devil's Den, it felt as if someone was constantly following behind us, even though no one was there. That second night, as we got ready for bed, there was cannon fire, and this time we all heard it, including some of the other guests who came out into the hallway. The third day, we were at Little Round Top, and I decided to crawl between some rocks to get a perspective of what the sharpshooters would have seen.
Interesting.
Yeah. Later that evening, about an hour before the sun went down, me and my mom took the car to see a couple more things, taking some pictures. We were at the high water mark taking pictures and thinking about what could have been going through those poor men's thoughts. It brought tears to our eyes, and we both heard a man say, "Don't cry for me, lass."
Mm.
The atmosphere shifted and it felt extremely peaceful and relaxing. It was as if whoever it was trying to comfort us. We both sat there for a while until it was time to go. As we walked back to where we parked the car, there was a couple sitting beside the car. They said hello and we had a small conversation. And mid conversation, we all stopped talking. From the battlefield, we heard drums. The couple seemed unnerved and they got up and said goodbye and got in their car. We decided it was time to leave since it was almost dark and no one should be at the battlefield at night, probably because they were going to kick you out.
Yeah.
In our last day there, we toured Eisenhower's home and
Oh,
toured Big Round Top. Eventually, my brother and father wanted to go back to the hotel, so we took them. We decided to go back to Big Round Top, seeing as it was our last day to explore. I believe Big Round Top is closed now, I think because of falling rocks and stuff.
okay.
We parked the car and walked into the forest. We had about 2 hours before the sunset and no one was around. About 20 minutes into the hike, my mom stopped and I was about to ask what was wrong when I heard footsteps. There were multiple footsteps that we could hear, and they stopped. Then we would start walking and they would start up again.
Weird.
So it was like every time they stopped, the footsteps would stop and then
Yeah.
they'd start walking and then it would start again.
Yeah, that's weird.
At one point, we decided to turn back, and my mother needed a rest, so we sat on a boulder. It suddenly got quiet to the point where there were no crickets, birds, or other forest sounds. And all at once, we heard horses snorting and trotting and galloping past us. Then it full on sounded like we were in the middle of a battle. Bugles sounding, clashes of swords, musket fire, and lots of men yelling. We were in complete shock, and it lasted a couple minutes, and then it stopped. We started talking about what we had just witnessed when we heard several men calling out, help me, I don't want to die," and crying. It was so overwhelming that we booked it back to where we had parked the car. When we got to the car, the park ranger was there. He took one look at us and said, "What did you all see or hear?" We explained what had happened, and he told us he had stopped a man that he thought was a Union soldier reenactor. He had told him he wasn't allowed on the battlefield after dark. He said the man smiled and with a shrug carried on. He said he was about to stop him again when the soldier walked through a tree and
Oh my
disappeared.
God.
We went back to the hotel, and the next morning, we were eating our breakfast in the dining area before checkout. My mother and brother heard a bugle playing, but no one else in the dining area seemed to hear it. It was all a bunch of strange events. But we did go back and we got even more experiences the second time. We do have several pictures where you can clearly see soldiers on horseback and soldiers around the different spots on the battlefield. I may upload the pictures if I can. If you get a chance, it's a great place for history and the paranormal. No pictures were posted.
Damn it.
That's
Why?
a lot. Listen, that's it almost seems like too much happened.
Yeah.
You know
Little
what
bit.
I mean? Like, it was a lot of stuff
Yeah.
that happened. Most people, when they experience the paranormal, it's like one
One thing.
small
Yeah.
thing. So some of these, it's like, really all that went on?
In like a
Listen, I've
weekend.
been to Gettysburg many a times. I've been on those battlefields.
Yeah.
Zero paranormal experiences.
Well,
So,
except you had, well, not on the battlefields, but you had some stuff happen.
yeah, we'll get into that next episode, but I'm talking, like, out, like, on the battlefields because that was, like, a lot of stuff.
That was a
Now,
lot.
I don't know what hotel they were staying at.
Yeah.
He said dining area, so he sounded like it was a bed and breakfast,
Right.
and I do know there are 2 bed and breakfasts down there that are pretty that have a lot of activity.
Yeah. Including the one we're going to talk about next week.
Yes. And that brings us to the end of this episode about Gettysburg, where every whisper in the wind might be a ghost with a story to tell.
If you loved what you heard, please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts because your support really helps us out. So go do it if you haven't already.
It does. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Not My Ghost Podcast and on Facebook at Not My Ghost, Not My Problem. We post updates, photos, and more. There'll be several photos. Some of them, this episode and next episode, I took myself just as we were visiting over the years in
Yeah.
Gettysburg.
And if you want even more spooky content, you can go join our Patreon for a monthly fee. You can get a lot of bonus features, bonus episodes, monthly lives, book clubs, all kinds of other cool, fun stuff.
Yep.
So go do that. And if you have a paranormal encounter of your own,
Katie.
Katie, why haven't you sent it in to us yet? And that's not directly to Katie, that's to everybody. But you need to email us your paranormal encounter because we want them. We need them actually.
We really do.
We really, really do. And if you don't send them to us, we're going to cry.
It's gonna make us so sad.
It's going to make us really sad. So get on your computer right now and type out your story and email it to us at notmyghostpodcast@gmail.com.
Do it.
And you will hear it read on a future paranormal. Oh,
Oh,
seriously.
I was like, what the hell was that?
And you will hear it read on a future paranormal postcards episode.
You will.
Mhm.
Thank you for joining us on this haunting exploration of Gettysburg. Remember, as you walk through those foggy Pennsylvania fields, keep this in mind.
If it's not your ghost,
It's not your problem.
until next time, stay spooky.
and stay skeptical.